All right, good afternoon, and of course, Happy New Year. By the way, it has been a year, and of course, you're here yet again for On the Sport Show. This is, our first show this year, and of course, we have much and more lined up for you this particular Saturday in regards to sporting activities across various sporting disciplines. And of course, I have very amazing and interesting discussion that we'll be having with my guest. I have two sets of guests. We'll be talking about Kho Kho. So I know a lot of guys are wondering what is Kho Kho. And of course, I have like a former Kho Kho national player, but now he has transitioned from player to referee, and we'll be having this very interesting discussion about this amazing game that is making inroad into the country. And as we speak right now, there is ongoing Kho Kho World Cup in India, and Team Kenya is already presented there, and we'll be having some insight about this particular game, and of course what you need to know as far as Kho Kho is concerned. And that is some of the most amazing conversation that we'll be having with my guest Frederick Ogolla, and we'll be engaging in this a couple of discussion here and there. But don't forget, we are still tracking a very interesting discussion that we'll be having later on about the Kenyatta University Open Tournament, and we'll be talking about matters to do with hockey. And already we have the organizing committee, that is Frederick Mahero, organizing committee, KU, Kenyatta University Open Field Hockey. He'll be here to give us some insight about this open tournament. What is it all about, what it entails, and of course what you need to know as far as hockey is concerned, especially here in the Kenyatta University. And that is the discussion that we'll be having later on. But first thing first, let me introduce my guest, and of course I'll be introducing him in just a while.
And we beat them. We lost.
All right, now it's about time we have that discussion. And of course, to help me unpack this very important discussion for those who are very much curious and eager to know about Kho Kho, we have the right guy to answer all the questions and take us through, this amazing game, what it entails, how does it look, how is it played, the rules, and everything. And of course, to give us even some insight about the national team that is currently on assignment in India. All you need to know, this is the guy, James Ogolla. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's an honor to be the first show in the year. Mwanza mwaka vizuri. Mwanza mwaka vizuri sana. Kwa mwanza hapo. Imagine your first interview is a World Cup interview. Unaona hii mwaka inaenda kwa fine.
Mazee nimeionea 18.
Umeionea 18. Amen.
So, anyway, sasa first of all, najua a lot of people wanna wonder like what is Kho Kho, especially ukisema K H O K H O.
Yeah.
What is Kho Kho? Kwanza jina yenyewe kwanza ilitokea wapi? Hata before we talk about the game itself.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm Ogolla James Otieno, a former student in Kenyatta University. I captained roll ball a couple of years ago. I captained also floorball, and I'm the one who actually brought floorball to Kenyatta University. I'm also a coach, former coach Kenyatta University roll ball, and currently coaching roll ball in TUM University. So I'm home. If I'm in KUTV, I'm at home. I remember back in the days we had Florence and we had Kina Pinches, and then I'm happy to come back here years later. I think probably this is like my 10th interview in this studio. Na growth iko mob. So first of all, to Kenyatta University and KUTV at large, congrats man, it's an honor. So now to Kho Kho. It's called Kho Kho. So the game derives its name from the aspect of Kho. The game works with the rule that when you touch a person to pass, then you say Kho. And then when you chase your opponent and you touch them, you say out. So that is where the game got its name, Kho Kho. So nikikushika nasema Kho, to show that I've activated you. So basically that's where the name came from. Now the history of Kho Kho, Kho Kho began way before 4th century, if you can believe. Southern Asia, India to be specific. That is where now the roots of Kho Kho are actually found. So through the years, it has been metamorphosing to what we have today. So 1936, we had the first ever Kho Kho introduction match in the Olympics. And then now 2020, they were supposed now to do a demonstration with the Olympics, but COVID ni nani? COVID is had other plans. And so COVID during 2020, so 2019, a batch of referees were invited, or a batch of coaches were invited to India to explore the game now, because it was usually Southern Asia. That's where its roots are, and mainly India. But now there are coaches who are invited to India and trained about the game. And from Kenya, we were blessed to have Coach Nyaudo, who was also the former national team roll ball coach. We had Coach Abunde, who's currently the women's team, yeye ameleta World Cup ya roll ball. And then we had Otada, who's currently the coach Kho Kho women. And then we had Coach Simon, who later became the coach of Kitengela and also the national team coach. So these guys were already experienced in sports, and so when they went to India, they brought back the game in 2019 with the hope of starting it at 2020. Then 2020 again, Corona decided to do what it did. So when that happened, we were lucky to be invited virtually to just be mentored through the game. So when Corona stopped being too serious and now counties were open, now we could travel all the way from Githurai to Kitengela to learn the game. We had the first ever club, which was Kitengela, because that's where those coaches are coming from. And then I was able to build the second club, or the first ever senior club, that was called Kho Kho Highway. So everyone who was coming from the highway, we made a club and called it Kho Kho Highway. And then we had Paradiso. Now the guys were coming from Marurui sides. So already we had those 3 traffics, and that's how Kho Kho had its first baby steps. And in the beginning, we were having mixed genders, because the number was less. So we had ladies and men mixing up and playing, and already we are playing tournaments.
All right.
Yes.
So right now, do we have like a competitive league as far as Kho Kho is concerned? And if not, what's the plan and how far, even in terms of tournaments, how many tournaments that the national team participated, and actually, a very competitive tournament that we're talking about?
Okay, so let me start from grassroots, because Kho Kho's approach is one of the best approaches, and it's grassroots system. Kho Kho, the way Kenyan Kho Kho is run, it's not top tier. Let's look at the national team and you go home. Let's go play, go home. No. We have at the grassroots system. As I told you, by the time we were starting those teams, Kitengela, we had kids. Yeah. When we started Kho Kho Highway, we had seniors and then built kids. And then when we had Marurui, we had Paradiso, which was a senior team, and then it built kids. So the first 3 clubs that were here, within 2 months, had kids. So in a club, the senior travels, they travel with their kids. And now that is just to continue that, the continuity of the club. And so currently, as we speak, junior category alone in Nairobi are 30.
All right.
We have Huruma Girls, just to mention a few. We have Shofco, Madare, and Kibra. We have Nairobi Kho Kho, just to mention a few.
All right. And now, because this is it's a new game to many people.
Yeah.
Now because you're a referee, now let's talk about the technicality. Let's talk about the rules. How is this game really played? I remember in the beginning you mentioned about the fall, but take us through, the whole process. Like, how do we play this Kho Kho so that for those who are following this discussion can actually get some insight and know what is going on? Yeah.
So generally there are 4 types of Kho Kho. I'll call the first one traditional Kho Kho, and then the second one I'll call it 7-a-side, which I'll also substitute to ultimate Kho Kho, and then the third one is called circle Kho Kho, and then the fourth one is time fast Kho Kho. But now we'll only focus with these 2 because those are the ones that actually give birth to each other. So the traditional Kho Kho, which has been played for eons and eons, is played by a team of 12 to 18 players. And then it's a rectangular court, 20 by 16, and then poles at the end. just the way a football pitch would have posts na post, so we have a pole, and then that pole cuts across, there's a line that cuts across the ground, and then now we have two teams, defending team and the attacking team. So let's say you are defending, I'm attacking. So if I'm an attacking team, utaona tumechuchuma pale kwa block, form za kutoka kwa block, tumeinama, then there's a square. I hope the videos are show. So there's kwa hiyo line ya katikati, there's 9 blocks in the traditional one. Then tutachuchuma hapo timu yetu, and then one atakuwa amesimama. Umenipata? So now that is my team. Now your team which is defending, kazi yenu ni kutuhepa.
Sasa nyinyi mmechuchuma, mimi na wahepa.
Sasa sisi tumechuchuma, and the way we have chuchumad, we are looking at opposite sides. So if I'm looking this side, my next partner is looking on the other side, then ule watatu anaangalia huko, then ule anaangalia huko. So the rule is if I'm facing this side, I cannot cross to this half, because ile half ndio nimekaa. So if I'm facing this side, I cannot cross to this other side. Na ule anaangalia huko, I cannot cross to my side. And then now you who's free to run around, I can only chase you in the direction that I first commit. So if I go this side, uko huku na urudi huku, I cannot turn and go get you. So I have to go and give it to a player who's looking at that other side. Apeane hiyo ko ndio tukutafute.
Okay.
So that is at least the technical fun part of it. Now you who's defending, you're defending yourself. So if you can stay for 3 minutes bila kushikwa, those are bonus points, which are 1. Mimi nikikukimbiza, if I touch you, that is 1 point. If I do a skydive, hiyo tu kama rugby nijitupe and I touch you, those are 2 points. Or if I use the pole, I touch the pole and touch you, those are 2 points. So depending on how technical a team is, simple teams will just play touch because it's safe. Now the fun teams will play dives and pole dives. So now that is the attacking team. Those are now our strategies. Now your team which is defending, every batch you play 3 players. The game is played for 9 minutes. So tukianza, you'll get your 3 players, you and 2 others. If we touch all of you, then that batch goes out, another 3 enters. Tukiwatoa, another 3 enters. So you guys need to try and avoid us as long as possible, because after every 3 minutes you're getting bonus points. Sisi, every second that is passing, you guys are getting points. So we have to get you out as fast as possible.
Okay.
So that is the basic concept of the game.
All right.
And then now just let me add on. So that is the traditional one. Now the one that was being played on World Cup, now that is called 7-a-side. So now 7-a-side as its name, now we have lesser players, which are 7 players. And then now my team now, the attacking team, is given someone called Wazir.
What?
Wazir. Waziri. But they call it Wazir. Yeah, because it's not English, so Wazir. So the Wazir is given now free chance of running anyhow on the side that they're looking at. Me, if I go like this and you turn, siwezi kukujia. But the other person, who's the Wazir, ukienda hivi na uturn, ataturn na wewe. But if you cross the line and go to the other side, he cannot chase you to that side. So now this 7-a-side, which technically is ultimate, now has that addition of Wazir. So once you put the Wazir, then Wazir has more chance of running around compared to the traditional one. And then secondly, now with the other one, after the 3 batches out, you get 3 batch immediately. With this one, after the 3 batches out, you're given 30 seconds to reshuffle your team, as these other guys get a chance to maybe switch their tactic or just celebrate as the Kenyans do.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we have got some insight about the technicality bit of it,
yes.
Now let's talk about now the World Cup. Well, now we have Team Kenya there.
Elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. And they are meeting the big boys, the boys with, let's say, not necessarily deep-rooted, some sort of culture.
Yes.
But it's fair to say those are some of the big teams to beat. I'm talking about like the host nation, India.
Yes.
And Kenya, we were placed in Pool D.
Yes.
And of course, we have Pool A, Pool B, then Pool C and Pool D. So
yes.
Pool D, that is where we were alongside England. And in that pool, Kenya was second.
Yes.
And by the rule of the game, the first 2 teams qualify
automatically. Yeah. That is men.
That is the men category.
Yes.
And in this men's category, After that, now we go to the quarters.
Yes.
Well, in the quarters, that is where we, you know,
what happened?
mambo ilifanyika.
Mambo imechemuka.
Ni mambo ya game.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about this World Cup, the first ever.
Yeah.
And that is a very quite significant history, especially for a team like Kenya.
It is.
Taking part in the first inaugural World Cup.
Yes.
It sends really a strong message, given the fact that even we saw some teams from Africa, the likes of our neighbor Uganda, we have Ghana, and of course another very big name, South Africa, in that
dangerous team.
So talk to me about now the transitioning from Kenya to the world.
So this is actually, let me just call it the fourth call-up. We have had 3 national team call-ups between 2020, 2021 to now this, which finally went at 2024 is when it was called up. So we have had call-ups and we have been training at Samaj and Premier. Those are usually the venues. But now the challenge was logistics, both in the international level and the local level, but mainly international, because they usually planned tournaments and then they had to cancel because of a reason, one or another. And then also 2022 there was the Ultimate, which actually Kenya was supposed to participate in, but they became governmental support and finance became a problem.
All right.
And that's why guys didn't travel. But as much as guys didn't travel, there has been that consistent training of athletes. And then the coaches, this one of the things I would like to salute the coaches is the coaches were able to balance the team. They were able to have the pioneer players and also have the new blood players.
All right.
Because there are a couple of players who we played in with 2020, 21, 22. And then we have players who played around 23, 24, 25. We even have a young girl who's 12 years old. And she became the best attacker in the first game of Kenya at 12 years. What are you doing at 12 years?
Chasing dreams.
You're chasing dreams. Now she's chasing Kho Kho. Her name is Zuena or Zuzu. She's 12 years and she was able to play the World Cup. I probably think she's one of the best, top 4 maybe in this World Cup. And now these opportunities that, you know, the game has really opened up. And then it has been also a transition because initially, as I told you, we had the mixed gender Kho Kho. And then now we separated the genders, which also to me helped us a lot, because now when men used to train with women under one team, women taught us about, you know, when you play there's a lot of aggression and speed and but then women just use the agility. And you chase and you chase and you haumshiki. She's just playing behind people and a jog too. But sit mezoea sprint dive mtu. But the women are very agile, so they just turn amekutoka just one step hawezi turn. So that one really helped the national team both on the men category, because now we learned that actually you might not have to sprint. You can actually just play it easy. And then now the women are able to now understand how to play aggressive.
All right. Because
now from the men, they're saying, okay, you can actually run and do a dive. But originally, ladies were like, tuwezi dive tutaumia. But when you play 2, 3, 4 games and guys are diving and you're back in 10 seconds, you know, if I do a dive, I get 2 points and you're losing, why not take that dive?
All right.
So I believe that system really helped. So what we're seeing right now is a compounding of a lot of trainings and experiences and familism. Yeah, it's not like just a team that was picked kujeni. These are people who have played together. They have passed through the challenges together, and that's why I believe they performed so.
Now, I want us to take a look at some of these groups. Group A, we have the likes of the host nation, India. We have Nepal there. We have Peru, Brazil, and there is a team called Bhutan that is in group. That is group A. Group B, we have South Africa, we have Ghana, Argentina, then we have Netherlands and Iran. That is in Group B. Group C, we have Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, we have South Korea, United States of America, then we have Poland in Group C. Group D, we have England, Germany, Malaysia, Australia, then Kenya. Well, Kenya, in the quarterfinals, we are playing against Iran. Iran is Iran were the group leaders in I think they were in Pool B. Pool B.
Yes.
And our ladies, we played against South Africa.
Yes.
Well, when you look at now in terms of pooling, we
Yes.
were second, so we were merged with the first one.
But first, yeah.
But the teams, the quality and the caliber of the likes of India and of course Iran, what does it say about our standard of the game? This is as we talk about lessons from India,
Yes.
even as we look forward for future tournaments and
Yes.
even World Cups and
Yeah.
engagement.
Yeah.
What are some of the lessons that we carry from India?
First of all, I would just first of all want to celebrate the teams individually. The women's team broke the record in the women's category by destroying, not defeating, destroying Netherlands 119 to 16. That is a feat that hasn't been broken yet. And mark you the game, you get 2 points for diving. And then you get 1 point for staying 3 minutes in the game. So for someone to reach 100, you get the picture. So the ladies played very well. The game that we lost actually was England. The ladies lost against England. And England, what England did is that 90% of the England ladies are actually Indian origin. So it's a cultural kind of concept that they just played. You understand? So I think if you'd have played with the original English, the results would have been different. But because you played with a branch of India, then what happened. But it was still worthwhile.
Okay.
And then now to the men's team, there's that highlight that I sent you, Kenya versus Australia. That is the biggest comeback yet. Because the game is played in 4 turns. So like first and second, then halftime, then second and third. So the first one you'll chase, and then the second one you'll defend. And then the third one again you'll chase, then the fourth one you'll defend. So it's like 2 halves, but now divided into quarters. So now by the time you are playing the second half of the game, or after 2 turns, we were down 22-54. You understand? How our team was able to win that game at 54-58, even the guys are not understanding right now. It has been analyzed. How? Because it hasn't been done. Everyone knew within a turn you must get a point or 2. But these guys maintained you guys for 2 turns without even 1 score. 14 minutes you didn't get a score. And that's what Kenya did. And that's why you saw those guys go crazy in celebration and the Australian guys cry. Because they jaifanywa. So those 2 things, if you look at it tactically, Kenya is coming for whichever trophies the international Kho Kho will put. This was just a statement for exposure.
All right.
Now when you come to the, let me say the cultural teams of Kho Kho, basically South Asian, to them it's culture. Just the way when you grew up you played Bano. Now to them that is Kho Kho to them. And actually, do you know that Bano is in Olympics? Just a side note. Bano, Bano kwa kizungu inaitwa marbles. Marbles is in Olympics. Marbles has World Cups. But shikilia hapo. Wakenya wanacheza talanta. You look it up later.
Na talanta hiyo.
Hiyo ilikuwa na talanta. Wakenya wote, because it was our cultural sport. So you imagine if you'd have played Bano up to now.
To grow up.
So now that is India. So for you to understand, India has played it because it's a cultural sport. They're not really playing it as a professional sport. It has been turned professional. But to them, it's a cultural sport. Ni kama si chuzile mpira ya juala. And then now you're told now there's World Cup ya mpira ya juala. Na ile mti alafu kambi inaekwa hivi juu. Tutoa watu, alafu mpira inachezwa kwa nyasi ile inafungwa hivi na kutega. You understand that type of concept? So now India, as much as their cultural sport, we were not able to play them. But from the game they played and from what you're seeing, Kenya is not far off. Probably maybe we need another 2 years of just perfection, but we are not far off. And then also we had an Indian coach who also came and just gave us the pavings on how to go to the next level.
Right.
So I'm very confident about the team. That performance was very remarkable. So now there's a country called South Africa. That was my second support. After Kenya, lazima weke bet bwana malipa wili bwana. Sisi kama Arsenal we know this feeling. So South Africa has a game in their culture that is almost like Kho Kho. They don't call it Kho Kho, but it's about chasing people, diving, tagging, and but not Kho Kho.
All right.
So now when they were introduced to Kho Kho 16 years ago, then to them they're like, you mean this thing can be professional? Let's continue. And that's why you see South Africa is doing such a remarkable performance. In the men's category, they're the highest. There is no game they played without scoring over 100. Over 4 games. 100. Okay. They are into the semis. We wish them the best. At least ikuje Africa.
All right. And because you're running out of time, this will serve like your parting shot. Well, now we have talked about success, the journey. Now let's talk about the future. In 5 years' time to come, where do you see Kho Kho?
If I don't get blind, then I think let me just answer that question under the projects that we have. So first of all, we have the KUSA project, and we have already introduced Kho Kho to about 8 universities. Kenyatta University, JKUAT, Tarakaniti, Chuka, Seku, and Mamangina, and many others. So by next semester, because now KUSA calendar is ending around July, so when you start the September semester, Kho Kho will be under KUSA. So now Kenya University, so it will be played under the university banners, and that's our one step ahead, because now we'll have more games. Secondly, we usually have tournaments. In a year we have at least 6 tournaments, and this February we are having a series where we'll have juniors and seniors across all genders, and so far we have had a confirmation of 50 teams all around Kenya that are planning to come through. We also have referee clinics and coaches clinics, at least 4 in a year, and these ones enable referees to rehearse and also to level up. Like right now I can say I'm in level, let's call it D, and then let's say the international referee is in level A. So I have like at least 5 more years to work and get there. So technically, referees and coaches, we are good with the pace. Teams, grassroots touch, also we are positive. Now we are into the universities and we are positive. Now what you're going to look at is actually how we can get partners and sponsors, because you can't play a game without cash flow. The game is one of the most cheapest games actually in the world. As long as you have your body, you can play Kho Kho. You can play it on sand, you can play it on grass, you can play it on turf, you can play it on those mats. Bora tuko na mwili, it doesn't have an equipment that is required. And that is the selling point of Kho Kho. So now what you only need to do is just to get enough sponsorships that can allow us to now start playing across country, and also have a chance to play against outside Kenya. I would like a friendly match in South Africa. I would like a rematch with Uganda, and then also Ghana, because you didn't have a chance to play with them. But all in all, Kho Kho has a very bright future. The way you started in 2020, the coaches Kina Nyaude just told us that let us do this, and then 5 years down the line you're already playing World Cup. So the 5 years to come, let us just wait and see.
All right, wait and see. That's the message. Kho Kho to the world. Anyway, wish you all the best. Na wewe kama fan wa Arsenal pia nakutakia kila laheri. Mambo iko sawa mkiwa pale na Ian mkifanya mambo yenu. Anyway, so it has been quite a very interesting discussion about Kho Kho. This is a discussion that we'll endeavor to have in the coming days. We will track and follow the team, its progress, the promises that you have just made here. Tutaona hiyo ligi yenu na university venye kunaenda, and how all these things. And I know like kuna probably watu wanangoja ma 1-2 kutoka kwako. Strictly 1 minute. Funga.
Mimi siko. First of all, I'll just if you want anything on Kho Kho, just go to our social medias. Kamera yangu ni upi? Nasikianga kwa ni hii hapa ama ni ile?
Ni huyu unamuona
huyu hapa. So go to any social media, just search Kenya Kho Kho. The federation is called Kenya Kho Kho Federation. So search Kenya Kho Kho Federation or Kenya Kho Kho on all platforms: X, Instagram, Facebook, whichever platform you are, or TikTok. whichever question you have, please share with us there. If you want to come on board, if you want to learn the game, if you're a school, if you're a club and you want us to come and teach you the game, we're teaching it for free. Just communicate through the platforms. We'll get in touch and then we'll come and teach you how to Kho. On the other side, I really urge the government to support. We thank you for you have supported the Kho Kho till where it has reached, but now we'd like you to support the game more, because we have a challenge of fields where to play, and also the shoes for playing professional Kho Kho. So I believe if we get those one in charge and we get the teams healthy and sound, we are coming for the gold.
Coming for the gold.
Coming for the gold.
Okay. Napenda venye umekuwa brief. Watu wa Arsenal hata waambi kitu.
To our Arsenal fans, are you sure that I can take 2 hours? Bottom line, to Arsenal fans, have patience. What Arteta is doing, please guys, have patience. Just remember where we were 6 years ago. We hadn't seen UEFA level football for a long time, over 6 years. Arteta's brought us from that to being a normal contender of UEFA, from whichever numbers we were to number 2.
Okay.
Back to back. And if you want to know that you're a big team, Chelsea bottled, says sijui ako wapi. No one is talking. Man City is bottling. Man United is, I don't know, number 17, bedroom. No one is talking. But Arsenal is in number 2, and this is the threat. We have had injuries. We have had red cards.
Okay.
We have never played a full team in a month, and we are at number 2. What if we get a full team that is fully healthy?
Okay.
Hey.
Anyway, so thank you so much. Buddha, wewe ni staunch supporter
Since 1998.
Inaitwaje? Kiwete FC. By the Arsenal unakonga Viwete FC, but that's fine. So anyway, thank you so much. I will tell you. I will tweet you. Thank you so much, James Ogolla, for this very insightful discussion about Kho Kho. For those who are wondering what is Kho Kho, maswali mengi, I hope sahi washapata their answers from the man himself. So anyway, we thank you and wish you all the best, you and your Arsenali and whatever you support. Anyway, so